Thomas, welcome to the Z Learning Podcast. Thank you so much for stopping by today.
I appreciate it, Zev.
So, Thomas, for my listeners or viewers who may not know you, if you could briefly summarize just a little bit about who you are and maybe your elevator pitch for InstantlyRelevant.com.
Well, if they did know me, I'd be blown away. So thank you for assuming they might. Thomas Helfrich, I founded a company called InstantRelevant.com. We rethink how you do outreach. So it's all warm. Everything we do leads prospects to, notice you, come into you and understand from a inbound perspective of why they should connect with you. Every one of our customers, we make sure that people come check their profiles out in their social media. Answer three main things is why they should check out your profile, what it is you do for them, and secondly, why they should take your call to action. And we mix that with some other techniques with technology and human-led to really deliver a lot more inbound interest and leads in what you're doing.
That sounds really interesting. Can you tell my audience a little bit about how you, hybrid human with AI, or, you mentioned technology to do exactly what you said, getting people to respond to messages or respond to outreach? How do you utilize in your lead generation that mix of human and AI or / automation?
Yeah, it's a loaded question, but the high level is we developed our own system, so to speak, and that's a mix of technology, processes, people type. We call it lead because it's a philosophy or more philosophical approach to how we approach the problem of it, which is to listen, engage, adapt, and then deliver it. But the execution is done through kind of four core. We call it the core four. First is we make sure your ideal customer profile list. And if you're in LinkedIn, a sales navigator search or a LinkedIn search, how narrow can we get that to get the right audience for the right reason? The second piece of that being make sure that we have content that's being created for you that is relevant. And it's not salesy. It's not, kittens and cupcakes. It's something that adds value to someone's day, and not from an entertainment standpoint, from a business or business problem.
Would you call that custom content? Like it's the type of stuff?
Exactly. It's absolutely custom. It's in your brand, but it's in a way that's not salesy or pitching. It's more of here's a really good demonstration for you. And then the third kind of those four, or the third leg of the stool, so to speak, is your profile, is making sure that's optimized to answer the question, why I should click your profile, what it is you do for me, and then lastly, why I should take your call to action, and then the storytelling that goes with that. It's super critical because the fourth leg of the stool is what we do, which is the engagement model. And from just an example, we'll just basically take your ideal customer profile list, and we'll go start doing comments on those posts as you. And if you look at like my profile, I'm doing about 6,000, 7,000 comments a month on other people. As we're talking right now, people are commenting on I'm commenting on posts. Mm-hmm. We use a bit of, it's all human led, but a bit of technology to help enable that to go faster, to be higher quality, more relevant, right tonality, things like this. Because the flow, what happens is, right, when you go and comment on someone's post, they read that little headline, which tells people why they should click your profile. And when they check out your profile, they say, oh, that's what he does for me. And then they see a little link in the, on the right underneath your head that says, oh, you don't tell people where to go. You tell them why they should click that.
Right.
So we set all that up. And then once you click there and they've taken your call to action or you've connected, then your content starts feeding into them. And now you're on your way. And we do this with effect. I mean, we've built a company, tripled revenue over last year. We do it ourselves. Everything I do, to get to 175,000 people on LinkedIn, I do for our customers. We can get into the AI piece of it, but we're early adopters. We've been on the beta side of OpenAI, which is ChatGPT, for almost 3 years now. So we know the tech pretty well. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that's a long-winded answer. But
that's let's dig into some of that. So before we get into some specific tools or talk about AI in general, like how your service that you're talking about, is it something that also other marketing agencies, I can see it being very valuable to maybe have a marketing agency and you're managing like 50, 100 social media accounts for various companies or individuals. Is your platform useful for, handling all the different, replying to all the comments for the brand, or sending out targeted messages? Or is it mostly, or are you using this more for others, or can other companies also use your systems? What I'm
The
asking.
answer on that question is yes. And I think our biggest kind of 4 use cases are sales leaders who are trying to enable their sales development SDRs, their reps or the BDR reps, and their outreach. So a lot of cold outreach goes on where you're messaging people, you're using automation sometimes to sequence it, whatever it is, right? What we do sits in front of that. And so we'll warm them up with posts. So the journey right now, right, for most cold outreach is, hey, I'm here. Nice to meet you. I want to connect. Here's a pitch. Would you find time? Or here's too long of an email.
And you're talking about LinkedIn, right?
Yeah,
Or
LinkedIn being the normal example. But if you can do it in any social media where there's messaging, it's kind of the same.
or emails, which we all know and hate.
Email's even worse because it's because with cybersecurity and everything else, it's getting harder. But
yes.
So what we'll do is we'll say we've commented on your post and you're my target. Well, when the SDR maybe reaches out or the BDR, business development rep, they're now referencing, hey, I liked your post. I commented on your post. And now it's not only the people thinking like, oh, what did I post on? That's nice. They're not selling. They're just thinking this guy gave me something he's trying to connect. Now their guard's still up. But if you do that a few times and don't ask for anything and they check out your thing, they may see what you do and they may have a need and they may inbound connect, but they're much more likely when you go, hey, would you mind meeting? I've liked some of your posts I've commented on. Could you find 15 minutes just to talk, chat, learn more about you? You're much more likely to get a yes out of that because you've done something for them. It's a lot of work because those are time consuming and do this. So what we do is we sit in front of that SDR group. So that's the sales leader. We enable teams. That could also be bridged over to the marketer or the marketing department looking to get more inbound interest, more executive presence. So all this stuff we kind of do on the personal level comes down to what's called executive eminence, which is raising the founder or the executive's profiles up so people get interested. So that use case of a marketer trying to help them scale. Because when you
building a personal brand. So
yeah, well, for the company, we're just saying, hey, I'm trying to find more leads for my sales reps. It's my job as a marketer.
Yeah,
we help them do that as well. And that's typically it's a marketing team of 1 or 2. It's a smaller teams. The bigger teams tend to have coverage on it.
Right, and it sounds like it's a very useful tool in a couple ways. Because one, if you're like a small marketing team, 1 or 2 people, whatever, it's like impossible to just be able to reach out to so many people at a time. You're doing so many other things. So that's great. And also, I'm sure, I don't know if you have a use case like this, but someone lands on a website or someone comes to your social media. If you're able to pick up, and there's so many obviously tracking tools that social media marketing teams use, if you're able to pick up anyone's level of interest, and you're able to somehow contact them or remarket them, I could see having a way to message them and, message inbound interest is very powerful.
Yeah. And so what will serve as an execution arm of some of the plans of, someone checks out your profile, someone, networks in there. You can use automation to do this. I'll table that conversation, but I would not. And so, because the other 2 use cases I think are important what we do, because it's the entrepreneur just trying to grow their business. It's the solopreneur with maybe a small VA team or something. We take away that time suck of social media and go do it for them and do the outreach. It's a massive use case for us. It's probably our number 1 because the value we add and grow relevance and help them just find interest is that's a starting point for most. And the third one being is a unique one, actually. It's let's say you're an HR professional and you have to exit executives out of your company, or you're an executive looking for that next role. We actually we'll do the same thing, but with them in a joint partnership we have with another company to take you through this whole process of becoming the executive presence you need and connecting and getting in front of the right people to do that. So it helps executives position themselves against other peers to get the next role.
Wow.
Yeah, go ahead.
So it makes you a more competitive candidate.
More focused, more relevant, because you'll be out there not asking for jobs. People will be noticing you. Your profile will be geared exactly to get that next role. You're with it's ReneeVincent.win is the company, but it's a partner of ours. They'd go and do the whole journey of, the assessment stuff. You do the whole resume piece, the whole LinkedIn stuff, like all that gets done. So you're ready to tell the right story. And then we go connect to people who want to hear that story. And we do that execution piece.
That's excellent. Cause and that underscores a point I've made on this podcast and on LinkedIn that personal branding, marketing, it's not just for companies. It's increasingly more and more so for individuals, for you out there. working whatever role you're at. If you want to be more competitive in the job market of today, it's not enough to just have a good CV and resume. You need to also groom your online presence, position yourself as an expert, a thought leader, as someone that people want to work with.
Yeah, I mean, going beyond that even, right? I think companies are starting, we position when we talk to marketers and companies to, you need to make sure your key people have that executive presence for themselves, because the higher that is, the higher your brand runs with it. And the worse their profiles are, the worse job they do at managing or reaching out or being salesy. So to me, a cold outreach, I did an audio event recently on this on LinkedIn. Cold outreach strategies are just bleeding brands. I mean, if you have 5,000 people you want to contact, and let's say you email them or message them on LinkedIn or whatever it is, and 100 raise their hand of maybe possibly like it, and maybe 10 say, I want that, you might be pretty happy with that. But you just spammed 4,900 people that were potential clients. And if you had maybe commented on posts, warmed them up, got to know them a little bit, you might have had closer to 500 interested and 5x on the return, or even higher and longer term, because you've built the trust. Because everyone says, you gotta buy from who you know, like, and trust. And I fundamentally think that's missing a big component, which is relevance. If you're not relevant, I'm not buying anything from you. I may know, like, and trust you, Zev, but if what you sell doesn't solve my problem, I'm not going to buy it just because
right.
I know.
The converse is also true. I may not know, like, or trust you, but if you have something or your company has something relevant, I'm gonna at least give it the time of day. Like, the hardest thing is usually just getting somebody to stop scrolling, or just get someone to take a 15-minute meeting. Yes, I'm probably not going to do business with you unless I at least trust you. I don't know about
Right.
no, I don't know about like, at least trust, right? But to even get to that point where we can have that conversation, you need to be relevant enough to get my attention and interest. So
exactly, and
yeah.
all those things work together, and they are super important, and they are time consuming to do. And it's a tree that if you don't water it, it will die. I mean, it'll get outdated. It won't look good. And so it's part of the game plan we do to help people get through that.
Very cool. Yeah. And I mean, just like, anyone listening out there, just think about, like, when you go to Google, for example, I mean, what is it optimized? The whole algorithm is designed to bring you up relevant search results. It's supposed to be on cue. And we've had a few branders, marketers on this podcast talking about how it's more important to be specific. You don't just say, hey, I have this thing, or hey, do you have problem getting from here to there? No, you should actually address something very specific. Like, when you start your car and it makes that sound, like something, or when the printer's jammed again for the 1,000th time, something that's actually related to their real experience. And you will definitely, the reason people pick up on that is because it's like, oh, this is relevant to me. This is speaking to me and what I need or want. So could you share with my audience a little bit about your forward-thinking approach to AI, how you've been using it to grow your business and your clients' businesses? We've had conversations on this podcast about AI and using an AI marketing tools. And what's your take? And maybe you can share with my audience a few tools you're using and how you're using them.
Yeah, it's a great question of the times, and it's one that's going to be relevant for some time, just from maybe a credentials. So it doesn't seem like I'm just, one of those people making it up, but my background's in intelligent automation and AI systems. I've done a lot of big consulting. So, some big companies in the world I've worked with KPMG, and doing work with Eli Lilly and Stanley Black, and like big company stuff. So I come to this because that's how I started my company. Was I took some of the principles that you could do with AI and intelligent automation and applied them to this lead generation problem I saw in marketing, which is very niche, very specific. And we focus, most people come to us for LinkedIn first, and then we have a bunch of other, you get a whole marketing team when you hire us, but it's like, that's where people always want to start. And what we do to grow our customers is we use AI to accelerate a human, not replace. And so I need less people to write content, but I still need people to kind of put their eyes on it. We still need people to, produce videos and audio, but we use AI to kind of accelerate. In these Zoom meetings, there's a transcriber that follows me. There's a video snippet catcher that follow me. Those things help us create social media faster. If you're trying to find customers, use the technologies that are out there that help, get the right ideal customer profile. Leverage just some of the technologies right there in Sales Navigator, or in, you don't need to go too far out. Those technologies are pretty good if you know how to use them. The thing I wouldn't do is every shiny object go sign up for it. So there's a lot of tech that promises a lot, and what you can get is technology fatigue, where there's just stuff everywhere. Like you're like, oh, I have this, and this. And you're like, oh my God, next thing you have 4 CRMs, you have 6 AI writers, and you have note takers, and you're like, I don't know what to do with all of them. Now you're spending a few $100 a month. That's a bad way to do it.
Yeah. I think that's the way a lot of people, to be fair, a lot of people are doing it now, especially marketers, because like you said, the keyword's relevance. People want to be relevant, want to be competitive. And they're like, there's certain people, they're ahead of the curve, like they're paying attention. I kind of feel this way. I'm watching all these YouTube videos, I'm trying different apps, but then it's like, but which one do I do? How do I use, like, what should be my strategy to avoid that shiny object syndrome? I think that's what a lot of people are struggling with.
Yeah, and that
ahead of
comes
the
down
curve.
Yeah, there's 2 big things I focus on in businesses. What's your revenue today? What are you doing to get revenue today? And what are you going to do about it for tomorrow? And if your technologies don't directly line up to doing that, then it's the wrong one. So being very specific, this technology replaces this function I no longer have to do for 4 hours a week. It does it in the background. Good use of tech. A technology that says, hey, in the future, this is going to be a much more systemized type of process, or it's going to mechanize industrialize my offering. Well, that's great, because it's going to free up my time in the future to do more business development. And so if you find things that truly align to kind of your work, and this is a much longer conversation because I know we're kind of winding down here, but there's a lot that goes into thinking through your business of where you pick tech and how you pick it. If your listeners have any questions, I'd happily follow up with them how to do that. But it is much more than a 2-minute conversation, but you do need to think. You need to work through the problems. You can use some technology to help you think through it too a little bit, but don't overbuy, underbuy, and really understand your processes of where they apply and what you're trying to accomplish with it under those 2 goals of revenue today, revenue tomorrow.
I like that. It sounds like a more strategic and methodical way of doing it. What is something I'm doing now that I could now save time or money by using an AI tool or upgrading the technology, rather than just, hey, let's say this thing's cool and new, I should try it, Yeah.
Well, not to interrupt you, but just to be very clear on that, sometimes you don't know what exists to go do it. And you also don't know that it's replaceable. So this is where some outside counsel or just doing some networking or asking, the people like myself, right? If you Google AI nerd, you'll see a YouTube channel I started. And it took me only 200 videos to realize that people don't, by the way, want to watch videos of AI nerds talking about their technology. So anyway, that being said, I'm going to podcast route now. It's easier. But the idea is reach out to somebody. If it's me, it's somebody else. Just ask, what in a business day, here's what I do. What can I use? Because that's not your core competency. Your core competency is probably what you're selling. So focus on that. Focus on the delivering of that service, and everything else around it should shake out.
Right. That's why we have to go to experts like you, and just like some people, they're doing their business. They hate the marketing. That's where I come in. Somebody wants to upgrade their technology, make their business systems more efficient, and adapt. Someone like you. So that brings me to my next question: where can people find you, and how can they reach out?
I mean, besides this amazing podcast, which you should listen to 2-3 times, share with 6 friends and maybe a coworker. But after you do that, instantlyirrelevant.com is a great place to go. Our site's always changing, because I always feel like the tailor's kids are naked there, but instantlyirelevant.com. But I always offer this: if you've made it this part in the podcast, you can do the following. Don't call, because I won't pick up the phone, but I will personally give you my text number. This is actually the phone I'm holding. You text me and you mention the show you're on. Not only will I make sure that I find time with you and give you a kind of a good assessment for free and don't charge anything for that, but I'll make sure I take care of you with a couple other things, with just advice and stuff I would normally just tell my customers. But that number, you ready? Get a pen. I'll take a pause. Everyone's got their pen or their little digital note taker. 314-954-6900. That's 314-954-6900. That is my personal cell phone number. Don't abuse it. But if you text me and reference a show, I'll make
reference sure. the Z Learning Podcast. That's Z
or Zev or Zev Z, whatever you'd like to do. You just throw it there. And we'll talk.
Brought to you by ZEV Media. But
this is not sponsored by instantlyirelevant.com. But if it was, I would have said so.
Love it. It's a sell fest, some promotion at the end. Mixed promotions, great. Okay, so thank you so much, Thomas, for being here. You added a lot of value to my listeners, and I'm going to link everything up in the show notes. And hope all of my listeners, viewers, definitely go check him out. Thomas Helfrich, thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a great day. I'll talk to you soon.